Hello lovelies, so I filmed this intro multiple times and it's not gone well every time, so cross our fingers that this one works. Okay, so today's video is going to be kind of off of the last video that I posted, which was Percy Picks the book that I read. This one is going to be you guys pick the book that I read, and you won't know which one you're picking because it'll be emojis on a YouTube post. So yes, let's get started. I'm going to talk about the books that I have for you guys to pick, and then we will pick out emojis that go with them, and then get the post up, let it be there for a little bit, get some opinions, and then we'll figure out which one I'm going to read. So the very first book that we have is The Summer of Broken Rules. Two of these, by the way, are rereads, and then one of them is a new read that I talked about in the book, in the video of Percy picking my book. So this one is about Meredith and Wit, and it is basically kind of a quintessential like summer romance. It is so light and easy, but there's also kind of like darker themes where our main character's sister died the year before this summer, so she's kind of still dealing with that grief and trying to figure out how to like move on and continue without her, especially because so they have this little island on Martha's Vineyard, or not an island, but they have some land on Martha's Vineyard where they go every summer, and like all of their cousins and relatives come too, and they have a game of Assassin, and Claire was really like the reigning champion of Assassin, so she was really into it. And now that they're playing Assassin again this year, and she has to kind of figure out how to deal with her grief. And also there's some like budding romance with Wit. Meredith's cousin, Sarah, I believe, she's getting married, which is a part of the reason that they are there, and her husband's brother, maybe, is Wit, or there's some relation there. I think that they're brothers, but I could be wrong. And so he is there, and there's a budding romance with Wit and with Meredith that you get to follow along with. Yeah, no, I absolutely adore this one. I've reread it almost every single year since the first time that I read it, which was like 2022, 2023, and every year since then, every summer, I've reread it. So this is an option. Then the next reread is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. If you guys know anything about me, you know that Emily Henry is one of my favorite authors of all time. If you look at my profile picture, it is me holding a stack of Emily Henry books and kissing them. So this being a part of my rereads this year is basically yet another thing that I've done every single year since I discovered her books. Every summer I reread them. So I'm pretty sure this is the only one that I have not yet read, except for People I Meet on Vacation. This year, did I reread Funny Story? I don't know. I know for certain that I reread Beach Read and Happy Place, and I want to reread Happy Place this summer, even though I already read it earlier this year, but that is beside the point. If you guys see me reading that, you mind your business. That is all. Anyway, so this book is Book Lovers. We follow Nora Stevens and Charlie Lastra, and Charlie is an editor, and Nora is a literary agent, and one of her clients is Dusty, and they sent one of Dusty's books to Charlie to see if he would edit it, and he was really cutthroat and kind of rude, and sorry, Percy's being all cute down there. And so they've had a bit of turmoil, I guess, since that interaction, and Nora's sister is having a bit of a rough time, and she loves this book. It's Once in a Lifetime. That's what the book is called. So they end up going to the town where that book takes place, and they find out that Charlie's actually from there, and a part of his issue with that book was just his kind of negative connotation with his hometown. But as they're there, Dusty's normal editor goes into labor, so she isn't able to help edit Dusty's book. So Charlie takes over editing the new book that Dusty's working on, and Nora steps in as a buffer to help edit it and intensify his comments. And with that, like, close proximity, you get to see them start to have a budding romance, and it's a really great book. I absolutely adore Charlie. So that's an option as well. And then the only new read is this one, Battle of the Bookstores by Ali Brady. I discussed this one a little bit in the earlier video with Percy, but basically, Josie and Ryan are our two main characters, and they both run bookstores, and the only thing separating them is a coffee shop. So once the owner of those three, I think he owns a couple other stores on the block, but like those three he owns, and he decides that he wants to tear down the walls between the bookstores and the coffee shop. So it'll be like a bookstore coffee shop store. And so the two bookstores have to basically battle, and whoever can make the most money in a certain amount of time gets to keep their shop running, while the other person has to shut down and go find a different, go work somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. They don't get to keep their shop. So there's gonna be a bit of turmoil there. So that's the third and final book that we have on our options. So to decide the emojis that we go with each of these, I'm going to kind of read the back covers. For this one, I think this is the one that I'm going to really struggle with coming up with emojis, just because I've never read it before. But these two will probably be pretty easy since I have read them. Already, I have an idea of what these ones will be, which is the water gun emoji, maybe like a wave, and lobster, because it's Martha's Vineyard. Then next we've got book lovers, and my original plan was that I was going to include books on this one. However, this one also has books, so that's a bit of difficulty added to this. Yeah. Let's see. This one, the red pen, I'll include a pen because of the editing thing, you know. I like that pen. Then we will also include, what if I just include different book emojis for each? Because books are such a big part of each of these. I'm gonna put a shark. If you've read it, you know. Then last but not least, we have Battle of the Bookstores. We will do, I think, a heart emoji because of his being like a romance bookstore. Is that a bit of a cop-out? Maybe, but it's fine. Then another book. Well, they have like a whole online relationship apparently, according to the back. So maybe I'll just include like a computer. Let me add the emojis on screen, and I'll show you each of the ones that I added. So this one is these emojis. This one is these emojis. This one is these emojis. So I'm about to make the post, and we will leave it for a couple hours and see which one you guys picked for me to read. Alrighty, hello everybody. It's the next morning, so we're gonna check what the So we're gonna check which book is currently winning. Sorry about his tail there. Okay, so it looks like we have 50% of the votes going towards the Battle of the Bookstore, and 25% each for both of these. So I'll be reading Battle of the Bookstore in this video. Thank you guys so much for voting. Let's get started. Okay, this is actually so random and off topic, but every time that I wear this set, I feel like, look, I'm Harry. I feel like we're just twinning. That's all I wanted to say real quick. I am almost 50 pages in to Battle of the Bookstores. I've been kind of struggling to get into it. If you guys saw the earlier clip, this is just a formatting problem of mine. It doesn't follow like standard margins. Like each of the lines is a different length, and that really bugs me for some reason. Then Josie's perspective is like, it's alright, but I'm not really liking Ryan's, and I was really hoping that I would, because like the whole plot of him being the romance book owner kind of was, you know, endearing to me. But just some of his like being inside of his mind, some of the way that he like speaks in his vocabulary is very, you can definitely tell that it's supposed to be more like trendy. He uses abbreviations in his inner monologue. Some of the ways that he speaks, I'm just not the biggest fan. I am only 50 pages in, so hopefully it's gonna like get better and I'll get a lot more attached to both of the characters. But right now I'm really just like, I don't care who wins the Battle of the Bookstores. I did, however, see, because I was looking at the reviews when I was struggling to get into it, I did see somebody say that they were having a lot of the same struggles that I'm having right now in the first half, and the second half really had them like emotional and enjoying it. So I just gotta power through, make it to the next half, and hopefully it'll get a lot better and I'll get a lot more like invested in all of that. Okay, so I just finished Battle of the Bookstores. I think my rating is gonna be 3 stars. A part of me is debating doing it a bit lower. I really just didn't connect with our characters, which made the rest of the book a little bit difficult to get into. The second half was definitely a lot better than the first half when you guys last heard from me. I feel like it was just a very, like, okay book. So as I was discussing, this book is about Ryan and Josie, and they both manage bookstores, and the owner of these bookstores decided that he wanted them to be combined with the coffee shop. And so the two of them have to battle it out to see who gets to be the manager of this combined coffee bookstore once this is all over and then the other one is out of a job. So you have a lot of like turmoil with that, but then simultaneously, as they are enemies in real life, they are talking on like this book forum. They're like really close. They've developed a bit of a relationship on there, but then you get to see them kind of drifting from enemies to friends to lovers. And then he discovers that they've actually been chatting on this online forum, and he has to figure out if he tells her or if he keeps it a secret so that they can continue talking on this forum since they don't get along in real life. And then that leads to a muddled emotions for him in regards to her, and then you have that like suspense of when she'll find out and how she'll feel about that. And they both have like pretty decently developed characters. I think she's really got like a lot of backstory. She kind of reminds me of the main character from Just for the Summer by Javi Jimenez. And then he is like very sweet. Gives her time to figure things out. We had like a decent cast of background characters who were pretty relatable. I feel like they were really like, a lot of them were mentioned a lot and really fleshed out. So I should have been able to connect with them, but I just didn't. And I feel like that's how I felt with a lot of this book, is that I should have been connecting to it, to the plot, to the characters, and I had all the makings of that, but I just wasn't. But I was like smiling at certain points, and I did take a photo of one of the quotes that I felt was really like relatable. So yeah, it was pretty good. It just wasn't the greatest. So that is Battle of the Bookstores. The next books. I think the next books that I have you guys pick for me are gonna be on Libby. I really think that I just need a book that's like an audiobook, because I read Atmosphere and then I read It's a Love Story by Anna Monaghan, and both of those books were really, really good to me. And I wouldn't say that I'm in a book slump because of them. I'm just really struggling to read and to want to pick up books. I guess I was really struggling to want to pick up Battle of the Bookstores, so I'm thinking that having an audiobook for the next one will be what kind of helps me get back into the flow. So I'm going to go scroll through Libby, and then we will talk in a bit when I find my next book. So the two books that I ended up deciding upon were guys, I literally cannot remember the name of it. I keep forgetting it. It's terrible. But it was written by Riley Keough, and her mom, Lisa. I think her name's Lisa. Lisa something. And if you guys don't know, Riley Keough is Elvis Presley's granddaughter, and her mom is his only daughter, his only child. And that book kind of tells the story of Lisa's life. And if you guys have ever read Daisy Jones and the Six, that's kind of, this book reminds me a lot of Daisy Jones and the Six for reasons that I won't spoil, but it does. And the fact that Riley Keough plays Daisy Jones in the TV show is like really cool to me. There's like a really big connection there, which I think is kind of cool. It's also really like heartbreaking, obviously, but that's one of our options. And then the other option is the Little Paris Bookshop, which is about a guy who like recommends books to people based off of the things that they're going through, and I don't remember the rest of it, but it's in Paris, and I've always loved Paris, so that sounded really interesting to me. And I think he like ends up going on a trip or something. I already posted the poll earlier today, a couple hours ago. These are the emojis for the first one, and then these are the emojis for the Parisian bookshop. And then, because I posted this a couple hours ago, we already know the winners. And it is the it's the Little Paris Bookshop with 80% of the votes. So I will begin listening to that, and I'll keep you guys updated on all my thoughts and all that. So I just finished the Little Paris Bookshop. I've been kind of sitting and trying to feel my, like, what rating I wanted to give it, feel my opinions. I think I'm gonna go with a 3-star again. So Jean Perdue owns a little book apothecary. He has a little like restored boat, which he has a whole bunch of books on, and he recommends these books as treatments to ailments such as like heartbreak or longing or any other number of things. We see that he recommends all of these books, but he can never find a book to cure his own heartbreak. He has this one book that was kind of like a bandage, but it didn't fully staunch the bleeding of his heart. So his heartbreak originally came from this woman, Manon. Back in the 1990s, he loved this woman named Manon, and she ends up leaving him, and all she leaves is a note, and he waits 20 odd years to open it, and he only opens it because one of his neighbors and a woman that he feels interest in for the first time in almost 20 odd years, she tells him that he has to open it, and because she found it, and so he does, and then he's promptly set on taking a trip to her hometown due to the contents of this letter. And right before he leaves, like as he's in the port taking off, this author, Max Jordan, who published a book and is now experiencing intense imposter syndrome after writing the first one and seeing it succeed, because he doesn't know what to write next and he doesn't have a muse. So he originally showed up to Purdue's boat to tell him that he was going to take off and go on an adventure to try to figure out what the next book would be about, because they'd met a couple times before. And then he discovers that Purdue is about to leave, and he decides that he wants to go on this adventure with him, and Purdue agrees, and so the two of them take off down Paris, heading south. You get to see them grow into this like father-son relationship, and it's really, really adorable, and you get to be introduced to a couple other characters throughout that you really like get attached to, and a part of this whole journey is that Purdue is looking for one of the authors. He's looking for the author of the only book that he felt kind of helped with his heartbreak, because they published that book under a pseudonym. You get to see them all kind of trying to grapple with their emotions and struggling with that, and it feels very, very human and very, very realistic, and there are some really amazing quotes, and you see Purdue kind of discuss his love of words and wanting to create new words to describe emotions because of his whole lifetime experience with being a book apothecary and being so exposed to human emotion. So it's a really, truly amazing book. I just feel that it wasn't one that I don't know, I can't, I feel that maybe if I were to reread it, maybe have the physical copy and be able to annotate it, I would give it a higher rating. But as of right now, I think I'm going to stick with 3-star. I seriously suggest that you guys pick it up, read it. So that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for voting on my books. I'll see you guys in the next one. Definitely make sure to check out both of these books. The first one might not have been primarily for me, but it could be for you. There were some good moments in it. I was struggling to connect to the characters with that one, so a lot of people could probably enjoy it a lot more than I did because they would be able to connect to the characters and to the plot. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.